So that sort of built the credibility with ourselves as a personal brand and also the brand as GVM as well. It is welcomed by the company because they are compliant to the ESG goals, and that helps them to move forward as well. And with respect to the circular economy, we are focusing on reusing certain materials, certain packaging material. We are trying to make ourselves plastic free wherever possible, as much as possible. That's when also we dive deep into it as to how it's particularly working, the machine, how it has to work. We put a lot of time, effort, the finances, everything together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast from Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm Priya George, and today we've got a special guest who's making waves in the world of entrepreneurship and industrial innovation. He's the co-founder of GVM Engineering Solutions, where he's led the charge on driving growth and sustainability in the engineering and manufacturing sectors. With over 5 years of entrepreneurial experience, Akshit has built a company that's grown at an impressive 40% year on year, focusing on everything from strategic partnerships to cutting edge market expansion. Whether it's boosting team performance or pioneering industrial innovations, he's truly shaping the future. It is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Akshit G to the podcast. Akshit, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Priya, for such wonderful words that you have mentioned about me. It is truly an honor to be with this session right now we're having, and I'm looking forward to a great one as well. Uh, and thank you once again for having me over here.
Absolutely, it is our pleasure. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. Akshit, every successful leader has a unique journey that's filled with defining moments, challenges, and triumphs. As someone who's co founded GVM Engineering Solutions and played a pivotal role in driving innovation and growth within your industry, we're eager to know what was the initial spark that set you on this entrepreneurial path. Reflecting on your career, what were some of the key moments that made you realize that this was the direction that you wanted to take? We'd love to hear from you.
Great. I think that's one of the questions that I would, make me feel go back to certain days of my undergraduate and also get the spark more to take things up charge again in the future days to come. So I think when we go back during the initial engineering days, especially, I'm an engineering graduate from a mechanical background.
Right.
So when we roll back that time, I had a set of, the set of faculties, and my college environment was pretty dynamic and was fostered on a better learning platform, wherein they wanted me to explore beyond the books and gain the knowledge based on a hands-on experience. So with
Right.
this, I had a lot of experiences with competitions, seminars, and many other events as such, wherein I understood at a very young age that if I am going to, there is no path defined that I'm going to get to a victorious place. It's often the risk that I'm going to take, and often that the work that I'm going to put in that's going to take me up forward. And the only way that I'm going to get there is also by learning by hands-on experiences and learning by making my fundamentals very strong. So with that, that spark was always there. But after my engineering, I happened to be with some of the corporates, some of the big firms, wherein obviously because of the structured platform and structured rules and regulations and many other compliances in place, certain places where the learning curve and the risk taking abilities was slightly hindered down, which sort of made me feel different as to from where I'm coming from and what exactly is happening was not in sync. So that sort of place where I was in made me push forward and try to understand different marketplaces. From there, I understood that there are certain market gaps and certain very interesting platforms in the market, wherein you require a constant interaction with your customers, constant relation building, and you need constant innovation also to drive things ahead. And that was a time
Right.
when industrial consumable sector was one of my keen notice areas. And that was to answer this was GVM Engineering, that was
Okay.
co-founded by us. So where we are trying to drive innovation and sort of build in a long-term relationship in this B2B space for the industrial consumables market. And over
Right.
the years, I feel entrepreneurship is not just about building a brand that the company brand is. It's also building our personal brand. And initially, obviously, we had a lot of issues with the developing the credibility in the market. So with
Mm-hmm.
that, we understood that it's not just about this traditional marketing that would help us, but we sort of
Mm.
stood hand to hand and with the customer during the applications, during their issues, whatever it may be, whatever time it may be, whatever the situation may be, we always stood with them. So that sort of built the credibility with ourselves as a personal brand and also the brand as GVM as well. So this is where we are coming from, and I
Right.
think entrepreneurship is more of if you're really passion driven, you really like solving problems, you are really getting fun out of it, you're enjoying the process of going ups and downs every single day. I think that's the fantastic place to be in, and the learning curve is just tremendous over
Absolutely.
here. So that is, if you're
Right.
someone who is into resilient thinking, you have a lot of critical aspects to focus on. I think entrepreneurship is the place to be in.
Right. Right. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, the start of your journey with us. Slightly off script, but I just couldn't help but this question came to my mind. So when you talked about building a brand for your company, but you also talked about building a personal brand, right? So if you talk about GVM Engineering Solutions at the top of your head, uh, could you enlist the four pillars that GVM Engineering Solutions stand on? Like, just quickly at the top of your head.
I think
Or
the four
values
pillars,
that you'll
yeah,
stand by.
the first most important thing for us is value selling. We are not going to
Right.
beat about the bush and focus on just if just take it sort of a method. We're not going to do that sort of sales. We are showing value in whatever we are selling, value in our products. That is the first thing.
Mm,
Second thing is with respect to the innovations. We are constantly innovating with respect to the market trends and the market requirements. That is
mm,
where we are right now. And the third most thing is the adaptability towards the changes. You
mm.
are well aware of the market right now, and the world is extremely dynamic. We are well prepared
Absolutely.
in handling the dynamism of the markets. And the last thing I would say is retaining certain sustainability practices with respect to the
Mm,
environment focus and also with respect to how we are handling the business. So sustainability is in two
mm,
pillars for me separately. One is the business and one is the
mm.
environment factor. So I think both the things
Environment.
yeah, both the things we are keenly focusing on at the moment.
Right. Thank you. Thank you for your response. And uh, also the way you approach, like you all in your response, you talked about uh, really wanting to explore challenges because I think welcoming challenges with an open mind is one of the guaranteed pathways, to success, long-term success, actually. So thank you for your response. Akshit, you've also been at the forefront of industrial consumables and manufacturing optimization. So you've seen firsthand the massive changes sweeping through the sector. You also touched upon it in your previous response. With new technologies, sustainability demands, and evolving market needs, how have you adapted to these shifts? Because you talked about adaptability. So, what have been the key transformations you've observed, and how have they influenced your approach to leadership and innovation?
Great. I think that's a fantastic question. But to start off with, instead of looking at the different possible ways that we can focus on, we have sort of developed a mindset wherein we are ready for the dynamic environments, ready to adapt to the new technologies. I think with this mindset, we are driven in a way that yes, whatever the situation comes, whatever the changes happen, we are not going to resist it, but we are going to learn from it,
Hmm.
adapt from it, and go from it. So I think that is the mindset that we have cultivated over the years at
Yeah.
GVM, and that is one of the best thing. And with respect to going ahead, we have also inculcated many other practices what we will take into the picture of the the changing environment that we are there right now.
Hmm.
So whether it is the AI driven decision making or the automation processes, we are not hardcore into the AI driven decision making right now, but we have a lot of automation in our facilities as well. We are a small scale
Right.
manufacturing facility. So over the years, we have understood that certain things need to be automated with respect to higher productivity, higher chances of the better performance of the particular individual as well. So
Correct.
we're in a phase where the technology wants to, we are trying to go hand in hand with the technology, and again at the same time not completely leave it out and proceed ahead. So I think over here with respect to trades, I think we would, for a leadership role, I think is the technical technology adaptability and the emotional intelligence what we develop
Hmm.
over here at GVM at the board, wherein we want the two different universe combining together and proceed ahead, because it's going to help us to move forward. And also with respect to sustainability, we are focusing on two things in sustainability and the circular economy as well. So in the
Okay.
sustainability front, we have developed certain biodegradable products uh, during the for the requirements for the food and pharma industry specifically. So these
Okay.
are also safer to the environment. It is welcomed by the company because they are compliant to the ESG goals,
Hmm.
and that helps them to move forward as well. And with respect to the circular economy, we are focusing on reusing certain materials, certain packaging material. We are trying to make ourselves plastic free wherever possible, as much as possible.
Hmm.
And with this, we are trying to push that reuse, recycle, and refuse the plastics and other things as well. And I think the
Hmm.
last thing is we are developing a lot of resilience with respect to the supply chain and localization. So
Hmm.
the supply chain front, there are many challenges that we have seen, like thanks to the different scenarios that has happened over the few years. We have definitely
Absolutely.
understood how tremendously challenging the situations are. So we always look at the supply chain in a perspective where instead of yeah things are going right, we always look at it in the front like what would go wrong. Okay, this
Hmm.
shipment, this particular transit movements, what could possibly go wrong? So this is putting it, in the forefront, wherein we already know that this is the risk involved. We know how to, combat that particular risk,
So
and
risk
we are
assessment is done like in really
exactly.
thoroughly. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And on real-time basis. So we are thinking in the forefront what could possibly go wrong. We are already ready with a backup plan. So this sort
Wow.
of a movement is somewhere, that is helpful for us, definitely. And something that the customers will look forward to. Yeah, these guys are pretty much prepared for everything that, so we
Hmm.
don't have to worry about them. So that relation building is also on a slightly better stage.
Right. Right. So the way you've navigated the evolving industrial landscape is definitely a testament to your forward-thinking leadership. And another thing that struck me in your response was also about emotional intelligence and being very cognizant of the people that that are working for you and with you. So moving on, Akshit, the like we talked about, the industrial sector is undergoing some pretty exciting transformations, and it is so dynamic. As someone deeply involved in these innovations, what do you think are the key trends that business leaders need to be keeping an eye on in order to stay relevant, but also to truly lead the charge in this evolving landscape? And how do you personally see these trends shaping the future of industry like yours?
Okay, I think with respect to that, I would say first and foremost thing is, like I always started off with my previous, the first few questions. It's the risk-taking abilities. So it is
Yes.
not that I am going all out on a particular chance. It's just some a probability of it happening or not happening, but I'm taking a calculated amount of risk so that I can digest too.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
with this thing, I think the leadership trait would, and the leadership trait majorly would be the ability to take a calculated amount of risk. And the trend is the changes in the industries, the way the things are manufactured. Like I mentioned, the AI and the automation driven processes. linking that with the human support, how well the productivity and the performance of a particular product can be enhanced. Again, at the same time, you can look at the technological adaptability front or the sustainability parameters and all these put together. But overall, I think it's about more of the forward thinking capabilities and the that sort of a mindset. If we are able to develop, I think that would be one of the best thing to look at. And with respect to the changing trends, it's always not that every market will be adapting to that change very quickly. Certain markets, especially like our market, takes a lot of time to develop whatever the product and whatever the segment you're in. So
Right.
it you need to understand how well the product is going to come into the market. Is there a market space for that? Is it really going to be helpful in to my customers? So that's where the value selling proposition comes into the picture. And I think that's about it.
Akshit, I'm curious to know, you've talked about, how you've always been a risk taker, and it's clear from the first response that you gave, and in many of your um, decisions related to your profession, you have been a risk taker, and most of them have, worked. Were there any instances where, despite the risk assessment, what you thought of or what you envisioned where a risk which was calculated, but there were other factorials, so many that, where your plan or the risk that you took did not work out?
Yeah, I mean, it often happens like none of it's just a risk-taking factors. Sometimes work, sometimes don't work. There are many things beyond our control, right? So,
Control.
like what I mentioned earlier, we have developed a mindset wherein we will take the risk, we will take a calculated risk. But
Hmm.
when we are taking that, if things work, fantastic. If things don't work, we are in a learning curve. We are fantastic. We got some opportunities to learn. So, if I'm giving a real-time example now, we
Yes.
have recently set up a small-scale manufacturing facilities as well for a
Okay.
certain application driven products. So we happen to understand that if I am getting a particular machine that is already ready in the market, and if I put it
Hmm.
in my industry and in my space where we are right now, the performance would be elevated, and I can push out a lot of
No
quantities
doubt.
of manufacturing orders, and I can roll them out. So
Correct.
it so happened that once we got the machine, there was a lot of issues with the machine. We didn't get the
Oh.
timely support from the manufacturers who were responsible for that particular machine.
Oh.
We also understood that the quality output is not there. That is what GVM stands on. We stand on quality, and
Right.
quality was not there. And that's when we realized. That's when also we dip, dive deep into it as to how it's particularly working, the machine, how it has to
Hmm.
work. We put a lot of time, effort, the finances, everything together. But at the end of the day, we realize I think maybe enough is enough. We have to shift out of this machine and do something
Correct.
else. So that phase was a pretty much risk involved in terms of time, effort, manpower, and the finances. But if I combine it all together and look at it in a macro perspective, it's a fantastic learning phase because my team is ready to
Absolutely.
handle anything now. So that's one of the things that
Absolutely.
work. And because that particular thing happened, now that entire machine is automated, and we have designed it from ground up. So I
Wow.
think that's a fantastic place to be in.
It's incredible. That's incredible, and thank you for sharing that with us.
Pleasure.
So like an important point to our viewers, like you talked about resilience as well, and not giving up, and looking at every challenge as, a part of the learning curve and a growth opportunity. So thank you for sharing that with us. Akshit, you have been recognized for exceptional ability to form strategic partnerships, and forming relationships is a vital skill in today's competitive industrial market. From your perspective, what would you say are the key elements that make a partnership really successful in this ever evolving landscape? Is it about shared values, or is it about long term vision, or perhaps something else? If you could shed some light on it.
Sure. I think where we are in the space right now, especially in the SME space, domain that we are in right now, I think whole of
Correct.
this industry is majorly driven by partnerships, wherein we are, I would not say banking on another person, but we are using the experiences and the skill set of another team and enhance it, and mutually support each other and grow together. So from my side, I think I would say three fundamental pillars are there for this, partnerships to work and be to the greatest
Hmm.
possible extent. I think one is the shared vision and values. My
Okay.
company's vision should align with their company's vision, and the values that we are inculcating in the company by to proceed forward in our day-to-day activities, or what we deliver to our customer, and how we work in every way as well. Yes, we have definitely had ups and downs even in this as well, but it is going to happen. You're not going to get everything at to the best possible extent in the first meeting or the few set of meetings as well. Over the years, where we have worked together with different partnership firms, we have understood that certain things don't match, certain visions don't match. That is when you reassess and you rework and you stick onto your own path, rather than realigning your own path and vision altogether.
Makes
I think the
sense.
sec Yeah, I think the second would be with respect to the mutual growth and trust. Both should be having the value of, you know, we are banking on you for something because of your expertise, and you are banking for my company because of certain expertise. This mutual growth and the trust, wherein your weakness would be filled in by our strengths, and vice versa.
Vice
I
versa.
think that, yeah, I think that's a fantastic combination, wherein you're of proper team to proceed ahead with any given problem as. I think the last one and most relevant in this current scenario where we are in right now, with the adaptability and the innovation perspective that we put across. So the world is pretty dynamic right now. The technology is changing overnight. We have seen a lot of things happen over the past few years, and this mindset should be in that we are going to change constantly, we are going to adapt to it, we are going to innovate, we are going to spend in our resources of manpower and finances accordingly, such that we stay at the forefront and lead this change, rather than stay in a side perspective and have a vision of it, how things are going around. So I think
Mhm.
that is where these three pillars stand together for achieving the greatest partnership to go ahead.
Right. You talked about, trust, which should come from, both parties. Trust is something that develops over a period of time. Would you also say that really clear communication between two parties contributes to establishing that trust between you and your client?
Yeah, I would say definitely clear communication, clearly setting out the path and
Ex
requirement what you want
yes.
is really, really important. And when I'm clearly communicating something, and if I am given a sort of a commitment, me abiding by those commitments, regardless of what happens, is very, very crucial for me,
Very.
because that is where it shows the true picture of the company and the individuals as well. So I would say clear communication and sticking on to your commitments is very important in this phase.
Hmm. Right, right. Makes sense, makes sense. That's a very insightful, point. Those are very insightful pointers that you shared with us. So thank you for that. Now, as someone who's clearly driven by continuous growth, I'm curious, what does the future look like for you? Are there any specific ambitions you have in mind? Perhaps stepping into new roles at the boardroom table, or areas within corporate leadership that you're eager to explore in the next phase of your career?
Okay. This is the nice question. Thank you for this. I think to proceed ahead with answering this, I come from a phase right now that has sort of shaped me and made me learn by over hands-on experiences, and made me act according to the dynamism of the market. Have worked with different industrial domains in my particular company itself. As an entrepreneur, you wear different hats at a given point of time, different domains. Certain times you're thinking about finance, next time you're thinking about marketing. There's a number of things going on. So I'm coming from a very dynamic perspective of how things can happen. And I'm sort of a person who, over the years, we have, made things delivered, and we stick on to it as much as possible. And we start things out from scratch, and we lead the charge of how it has to be taken forward, and we deliver the end result, because that is where we are right now. And that has sort of shaped me to better perspective of thinking, and many other compliances as well. So with that, yes, definitely, I would look at new leadership roles in the boardroom as well, because
Right.
apart from the current perspective, current situation where I'm in right now, there are many other broader aspects that I would be wanting to focus onto as well. So that would be an exciting stage to be in, because I'm coming from a phase wherein I've handled multiple things, multiple challenges, multiple real life scenarios as well.
True, true.
So that gives me an advantage to proceed ahead with the best possible ways. And
Right.
with respect to this is again with when I shift to GVM as well. I think one of our core agenda that we're trying to focus on is go hand in hand with the Make in India scheme or the Atmanirbhar Bharat. We are trying to
Excellent.
localize as much as possible and support the local industry, local industrial requirements that can be with respect to the defense, wherein it's very crucial right now where we're moving forward. And with also with respect to certain other electronic industries as well. We are trying to localize as much as possible and align ourselves with this, Make in India scheme. Thanks to the government initiative with that. And I think from my other perspective, I would say I'm pretty keen on the transportation sector and the energy sector right now. These are the two
Right.
sectors that are extremely potential for certain disruptive changes, and we are looking forward to that as well. When we are moving ahead, they can be with, see, disruptive changes can be with respect to technologies or with respect to simple business practices and ideas that can come forward. So I
Right.
am keen on working on these sectors, and I'm trying to establish myself there as well. So yeah, I think the let's see where things could proceed ahead with.
But there are two things that struck me. One is when you talked about empowering local communities. I think it's absolutely admirable. And I think it's also the need of the hour. I think there is a lot of untapped potential that are there in our local communities. And thank you for recognizing that. So it's a testament to your forward thinking approach. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, do you ever contemplate about being in the role of a mentor? Um, has that crossed your mind at any point in time?
Uh, I mean, you're looking at me as a mentoring person or
Mentor. Yes,
mentor?
as a
Okay.
mentor, because you've come with all this experience and ideas and all, and this new energy. So does it come to your mind of training or taking a few people under your wings and guiding them through the industry and the workings of the industry?
There are two ways to, I would look at it, and definitely it has come across my mind a lot of times as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So, with respect to me being a mentor, I would say yes, but only in certain aspects right now,
Okay.
especially with respects to sales, business development, marketing, and customer interaction, because I
Okay.
think that is the forefront of any business to move ahead with, and
Mm.
shaping that one-on-one conversation with your customer and how to lead charge, how to have a basic discussion, how to close a deal, how to understand certain problems in those,
Mm.
between the lines when the customers speak about. So I think that is where I want to, develop the skill set, and I want to support people who are trying to get there. That is one thing what I want to mentor in right now, or at least to the best possible of my skill set at the moment. Other than that, there are many things with respect to supply chain, finances, and other strategic decisions as well, wherein I am also on the learning curve. Wherein
Yes.
if it is a mentorship in two-way process, wherein I learn from someone else and someone learns from me as well, that's a fantastic place. But otherwise, maybe a set of few years down the line, I would be possible to lead the charge there as well.
Absolutely, because I can see the traits of a good mentor in you. So
Yeah,
let's see what the future holds. But all the best for
definitely.
that, and I'm sure you'll make an impact wherever you go. Akshit, you've talked about, sustainability, and you've talked about it in two aspects, one with regards to the business and one with regards to the environment. Um, with growing pressure from investors, consumers, and regulators, what steps do you think companies need to take to truly integrate ESG into their core operations and culture?
Okay. I think I think this would be better maybe said in a manner that it has to be, sort of a four-step approach, four different step approach. I think the
Okay.
first is on a broader perspective in a business, wherein I would say embedding the ESG goals into the business strategy and the decision making itself. So
Mhm.
this comes at a broader level. So at the boardroom level and the strategic level, the decision makers, the stakeholders. So it comes from there first. So when
Mhm.
your ESG is treated, it cannot be treated as a separate function, but it has to be sort of interwoven with the decision, whatever you're making. And I think with that moving on, it will become a responsibility and not an expense to treat it as. So when the broader perspectives are set, I think the next set would be with respect to how my operations are done on a day-to-day basis and how my supply chains are handled. So, with respect to operations, I'm talking about cleaner energies, biodegradable materials, reducing the usage of certain plastics, it can be, or just making the system more efficient so that I spend lesser energy
Mhm.
on it. Right. And with respect to supply chain, I would say how best are we trying to understand the market demands? Am I trying to move in a lot of materials continuously? Because I always see there are non-value added activities with the supply chain, which unnecessarily adds the cost and the time. So there, how best am I inculcating my ESG goals and applying it in my supply chain? I think that is a very crucial thing. I think the next one would be with my broader perspectives are set, my day-to-day activities and my supply chains and the other activities are set. I think the next would be with respect to the innovation. So my innovation should be driven in such a way that I am inculcating these practices or these set of regulations or goals in my products. So if I am focusing on certain new developments, am I taking
Mhm.
best use of maybe the data analytics, what comes into the picture for me? Am I utilizing all these particular features? Am I meeting the set goals in the innovation? So because of the innovation starting with a new set of products, the things proceed ahead from there itself, because the innovation, new product development, if it is following the ESG goals, I think things would sum up there itself. With respect to the last parameter, so the broader perspectives, the regular operation supply chain, the innovations, I think the last and the most important thing for any business is the people. So you are trying to inculcate the practice of ESG goals within the people, and you're not making it in such a manner that it has to be very strict or anything as such, but you're just making it a day-to-day practice, making sure that it is nothing different from what we are doing right now, but you're making them understand why the ESG goals is important and how we are going to achieve them, and taking a joint decision between all the stakeholders and the people so that one particular agenda is met. I think these four sums up the entire thing.
Right, right. So it's clear that you believe, and I kind of agree with you on this as well, that ESG isn't just a buzzword. It should be at the heart of sustainable business practices. As we near the end of the interview, Akshit, you've recently joined Directors Institute. So could you share with us what your experience has been so far? What have been some of the most valuable takeaways for you?
I think, see, coming from an entrepreneurial background, we are always in a fast-paced environment, fast-paced world. Everything has to be on a very quick manner. Though we have certain data-driven decisions as well, but still certain things are very quick, and certain risk-taking aspects are slightly on the higher side as well comparatively. But coming into the Directors Institute, I understand the importance of the corporate governance, how I am supposed to take my risk in a calculated manner. And studying is not just about the knowledge and the books I collect, but with respect to certain case studies, what we go through, and certain day-to-day aspects also what we come across in our day-to-day life, and how we are inculcating this practice of what I have learned to what I am seeing right now in the real world. I think it is giving me a fantastic balance between being agile and being compliant to certain government norms and regulations and other ESG activities as well. So I think
Right.
this striking the perfect balance is a fantastic place to be in. And more importantly, with respect to the entire team of Directors Institute, I think they are doing a fantastic job and they're extremely professional in their approach with the way certain queries, certain decisions, certain simple communications are handled. I think that's a fantastic thing that is seen by them. And I think moving forward, it excites me more of how we can take this on a joint basis and proceed ahead to the best possible extent of our both growth. I think that is an exciting phase to be in.
Right.
But I think, yeah, World Athletics Institute is doing a fantastic job in all these parameters.
Right. Thank you. And it's inspiring to hear how the Directors Institute is helping shape your leadership approach. For all our listeners out there, as we wrap up today's episode of FaceTime with Leaders, let's take a moment to reflect on a powerful insight from Akshit's journey. The future of leadership is built on continuous learning, strategic partnerships, and a relentless drive to innovate. And I definitely encourage you to think about how you can challenge yourself to embrace change, foster new connections, and lead with purpose in your own work. So, Akshit, all I can say is this has been a beautiful, very insightful conversation. Thank you for being here with us on FaceTime with Leaders and sharing your journey with us, sharing all your insights, your experiences, and offering very valuable nuggets of advice to our listeners. So thank you once again on behalf of FaceTime with Leaders.
Thank you so much for having me here. I think it was a pleasure interacting with you as well for a fantastic host.
Thank you.
And also with the set of questions that were given to me, made me also pretty much think many aspects and answering them. So thank you once again for having me here.
Right. Thank you so much. And for our listeners and viewers, don't let this conversation stop here. Join the dialogue. You can always stay connected through our social media platforms or visit the Directors Institute for more insights. As we look ahead to the future, remember this: the best way to predict the future is to create it. Until next time, stay inspired, stay bold, and keep leading with purpose. This is Priya signing off, and thanks for tuning in to FaceTime with Leaders. We'll see you on the next episode. Take care.